Welcome to Uncorked and Unscripted, the podcast and video series that gives you VIP access to the unscripted stories of people I've met through events. In this episode of Uncorked and Unscripted, former Atlanta Falcons player Tyler Starr joins us to discuss growing up in a small town to life as an NFL player, the struggles in between, and how he is now living a life full of purpose. Now uncork your favorite beverage and listen up as we spend the next half hour unscripted. Hi there, welcome back to Uncorked and Unscripted. I'm your host, Addie Graham-Kramer. The setup looks a little bit different here today. You notice the background, but if you're watching on YouTube, we've got a guest in studio here, actually in my office today here. We've got Tyler Starr. Tyler is a former Coyote, NFL player, dad, awesome community leader, and we're going to talk a little bit more with him today. But welcome, Tyler. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So for those that are not familiar with what you do, all that you do, and all that you've done, why don't you just share a little bit with our guest here today?
All right.
I feel like I should do a little drum roll.
No
Tyler Starr.
Drum roll for you. Yeah, so I guess I'll bring it back to, was born and raised in Little Rock, Iowa. Okay. Small town. You know.
Small town. Yeah, small little town.
But I was fortunate enough to get a football scholarship to the University of South Dakota.
Go Yotes.
Let's go Yotes. I played there for 4 years and then ended up getting drafted by the Atlanta Falcons in the second to last pick, actually. Almost the last pick. Last pick would have been Mr. Irrelevant, and I would have got a free Corvette. So still a little bitter about that. But no, it was great. Then ended up going to Atlanta. Played there for 3 years. Yeah. Got a chance to go to Super Bowl, and then Tom Brady used his witchcraft and came back and had the greatest comeback of all time. So still a little bitter about that too.
I can tell. What year was that? When did you?
That was 2017.
Okay, so when did you graduate? So you graduated USC 12?
2014.
14, okay.
Yeah, yep.
I graduated just shortly before you, but yeah, we're big Yote fans,
Go
of
Yotes.
course.
I love it.
So how was your process when you went from USD to Atlanta? Like, talk about that. Like, was that scary, exciting, nervous, all the things?
I thought it was going to be like a much bigger move and like a lot more anxiety with it. But actually, I was so focused on football that it just kind of seemed like the newness of the city, how big and busy it was, didn't really hit me because I think I got drafted on like the second week of May, and that very next day I was on a flight down to Atlanta.
Wow, crazy.
So it
fast.
was like I was just in football mode. So I got to the hotel, and that next day after I landed, it was 8 a.m. we were at the facility. So it was like just another day of football.
So fast, fast moving.
So
wow, interesting.
It was a smooth transition.
Interesting.
And what was nice is we weren't in Atlanta, so like the facility is actually in Flowery Branch, which is north of Atlanta, probably like 40 minutes. So we didn't really get involved too much in the Midtown area.
That airport is one of the worst airports in the world.
Hartsfield Jackson.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad.
It's so busy.
It is so bad. Well, hey, before we get in further, one of the questions that we always ask our in-person guest, or obviously if we're doing it virtually, but is because we're uncorked and unscripted, the uncorked piece, we were just chatting offline like we should be popping bottles here in this interview today, but we're not. But if you were to be any drink, like your drink of choice, that would describe Tyler Starr, what would that drink be and why?
Interesting question.
Can be alcoholic, can be non-alcoholic, can be, we had somebody the other day say they were a cup of coffee. It can be whatever.
Ooh. Well, cup of coffee is definitely up there. Or I guess an espresso shot for sure.
Okay.
I think though, I'm going to have to say Gatorade, Frost, light purple, or the Riptide Rush. Okay. Yeah, definitely.
So why? Why that?
I think because I have like all these nostalgic memories, or like being in training camp or doing something, very exerting, and just ripping open ice cold Gatorade.
Like you just know.
And just chugging the whole thing down is literally like the greatest feeling.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so this is kind of totally off scripted wise, but they always talk about like pouring of the Gatorade over coaches. Is that really Gatorade in there, or is it water?
Yeah, it's Gatorade.
It is not.
For sure.
Ew.
I mean, I think
interesting.
I'm sure they've done it with water before, but you want to get them a little dirty. I mean,
wow.
I think
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Well, good choice for your drink of choice for uncorked and unscripted, but
love it.
So when you're in Atlanta, talk about like the transition in general, though. You come from small town. I grew up in a small town in Nebraska. not as small as Little Rock, but small town. And for me, I came up to South Dakota to go to school at USD. And so for me, the transition was big already. But I can't imagine going from even Verm, down to Atlanta area as well. Like, what was that transition like? Was it, I know you're like obviously in football mode nonstop, but was it eye-opening?
It was good for me, I think. I was never really apprehensive about living in a bigger or larger city.
Sure.
A melting pot for sure, Atlanta.
Yeah.
But I always, was intrigued by culture and, very interested in it. And when I got down there, especially being a huge music culture, that was kind of, it was fun. I'm glad to be a part of it. It was different. The traffic was insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I know my wife at the time had worked down just south on the interstate, and like she had to leave like 3 hours before just because,
gosh.
it was terrible. And then like on our days off, we would go do community outreach things, and it would take like 3 hours to get down there, 3 hours to get back. So it became an all day thing. So like your day off, everyone's like, "Oh, this is great. We're doing community outreach, but we're gonna 6 hours in traffic."
Wow,
but,
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's
exhausting.
You just put on your mindfulness training in there, and you just try not to get angry. But
did you ever have a moment of like, wow, this is really happening? Like, this is such a surreal moment? Or did you know, like, even growing up, because you played basketball too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You played basketball, football. Like, did you know, like, this was an end goal for you that you wanted to do at that point in your life?
I knew at a very young age that, like, the NFL was like, okay, this is a dream of mine. This is something. It didn't become, like, I don't know, seem attainable until about second year in college, where scouts were coming to recruit Tom Compton, great USD and NFL football player. Yeah. And, I was kind of getting after him, and the scouts were like making notes, and the coaches were kind of, they're kind of like, wow, you really can do this at the next level. And then that's what kind of became like, oh, this is achievable.
Good for you.
But then I'd have to say, like, kind of eye-opening moment was probably the first home game down in Atlanta, the national anthem, where you're just like, wow, this is real.
And you look out in the stands and you see thousands of people.
My family was there, the kids there. I mean, it was surreal.
The reason why I asked that is my boy, we were talking kind of offline that he's 14, and even at some of the camps that he's involved in, you already start seeing scouts that are there because they're looking at the 15s and the 16s and beyond there. And for me as a parent, it's so interesting even to see how young that people are scouted truly at that age, but also like to know, like, that's what he knows he wants to go to NBA. Like, that's his path. Right. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the stat is. It's so small. Isn't it? Or is it like less than 7% even go play college ball? And then it's even smaller beyond that. Is that what do you know that stat?
I think that's something close. The statistic is very small. Fortunate enough for like the basketball, like there's great leagues overseas in different countries, and they also pay a lot better than the professional football leagues. So there's a lot of opportunity for basketball. Right. I think it's a lot not easier, but I think there's more opportunity for sure. So
when you say that, like, I wondered, like, if you knew that was always your path. I know my boy right now, he's like, I want to graduate high school a year early. I want to get these things done, and I want to go play. So that's why I wanted to know, like, did you always know, like, was it in your heart of hearts that you knew you wanted to play ball?
I've always had that dream. And I remember growing up and even in like, early middle school, writing, career papers and like, this is what I wanted to do. And, teachers kind of being like, well, we got to choose like an actual career, and then like, but, in hindsight,
those are conversations that we're having now too. Like, what is that? Yeah.
But I think, then later on in high school, just being a young, wild, foolish kid, and arrogant. And,
you were not.
I've grown a lot.
I know you.
even in my 30s. But just not really having a plan at the end of high school.
Right.
I couldn't think past
what was
the moment I was in.
Right.
And so I didn't prepare very well for this path.
Sure.
But I definitely am grateful for just having that opportunity to get out there on the field and play.
So you finish up in Atlanta, come back, right? You came back home?
Mm-hmm. About 2017.
Yep, came back home. Tell us like all that you've been involved in. Now you've got 3 amazing kiddos, which is great. Mm-hmm. We go to the same church together, which is awesome at Embrace. Little shout out to Embrace. But
shout out, Adam Weber.
Adam Weber, we love you. But like tell us like all that you're involved in now.
So do you want to start kind of with the transition?
Yeah, I want to hear, like what was that like? Like kind of reacclimating yourself out of NFL back in.
Yeah, I'd like to speak on that because that was probably one of the most challenging things that I've had to go through in my life. Just because football had been always like, oh, this is who I am. This is kind of who I've built my identity off of. And then when football is no longer an option, you have all these classes and courses, rookie symposium, and training through NFL player engagement, and like, hey, this is something that you're gonna have to deal with at some point in your life, and you just don't. You hear it, but you don't like.
You're not in it.
Yeah, you can't really like focus on that because if you take any focus off of playing and pursuing this path, then it makes it a lot harder. But the transition was hard for me because I didn't know really who I was. I had to really look in the mirror, and that took a long time. And it was very humbling, from going such a well-paying job, a great salary, to like I finally like. And my wife at the time had chosen me, like, okay, let's just find a path. Let's just open this door and let's just take it and see where it goes. And really choosing a career path that I didn't think I was ever going to be involved in. I ended up joining the local 426, becoming an apprentice electrician, and going from making $610,000 a year to $1,355 an hour is a very humbling experience. Yeah. But it helped me grow a lot as an individual. But on the way there, along that path, and then going back to school to Southeast Tech for construction management, I kind of realized I wanted to be in the construction industry, but still figuring out who I was, who I wanted to be.
Was that hard from not to play a pun on it, but to go from truly stardom? I mean, you were on HBO, you had all these things going, hanging with celebs, all the things, probably maybe some of your idols even, that you looked up to from a football side, to go from that. And then the humbling experience of now you're kind of starting over in a sense. Like mentally, what was that like from the mental side of it?
Yeah, and that's a great topic I actually want to hit on. So I actually struggled really bad with depression and anxiety after that loss of identity, and because I was still letting my ego drive all my decisions, it led into a pretty severe addiction, and that was something that run my life for quite some time, and caused a lot of chaos and a lot of setbacks. And so I just want to, speaking on that, mental health, is definitely something that we need to be more conscientious of, especially in young adults. It's something I struggled with, and that asking for help is not, weakness. It's a sign of strength. And I dealt with it, it's crazy. I sit here today, 33 years old, having a great job, and having gone through that, I'm the best version of myself today. And I had, even if I had all the money in the world in football, I had all the fame, had the family, had the kids, I had to lose all those in order to surrender my ego and really understand who I was, what I stood for, and kind of where I wanted to be in my life. But you don't have to choose that path. If you are more awareness of who you are and what you stand for at a younger age, and that, hey, these issues are real, and that there's resources out there for you. That you don't have to take that path.
I shared with you before. So my oldest is he was going through an injury. So ACL tear, meniscus tear from football, and was fine these last probably 6 months or so. At that 7-month mark, though, I think is where he started to feel more of the depression side of things, and just not feeling well and not knowing what to do. And he's at a point where he thinks he can play, but he can't physically, right? Mentally, he thinks he's there, and he's missing out on all these things and not being able to hang out with friends and not getting on the court. It's hard. So I think from an athlete's perspective, from anybody's perspective, I think whatever adversity that we come up across or up against, it is hard. And what you said it right, like how you choose to attack it is, everybody does it differently. You took maybe a different path than somebody else might have taken, and somebody else might take a different path than somebody else. But for us, I think being aware of it and talking about it is the first step. And I think from our side, especially with our boy right now, our 14-year-old, he didn't know how to say it or what he was feeling. Or when you talk about young people, they don't know what to do. They think these are just normal emotions and they have no idea. But when you have people that are struggling and they talk about suicide and they don't know what path to take, that's the hard part. So I'm glad that you were able to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. And, that's kind of what I've kind of started this mission. And I think we, mentioned it before we got this thing going, but star power, and that's really what that about is, creating some self-awareness in your life. The three things in my life that have completely turned it around is becoming self-aware. And with that awareness, you have to have the discipline. Now that you know who you are and what you want to do and where you want to be, you have to have the discipline to make those decisions accordingly. And then, they progressively get harder. Step 1, awareness, and step 2 is discipline, and step 3 is to have intention. Do things with a purpose. Don't just wander this earth,
aimlessly, not knowing what to do. Do you instill some of those same values in your kiddos? Do you
Absolutely, yeah. And it's, as you become a father and, become more self-aware, you start realizing, your place in this world as far as a father, as an adult, as a man, as, a spouse, and you need to kind of do your part of like passing down that knowledge and try and create a better environment and a better world.
And you've got 3 kids, Cash, or Hunter, Cash,
Hunter,
and then Sienna.
Yep, Hunter's the oldest, she's at 13, Cash is 8, and Sienna's 4. So
what do they think of this whole transition too? I mean, because Hunter's been around for a lot of it,
Yeah.
Like talk about like how he sees Dad now differently too. I'm sure your relationship has changed quite a bit with the kiddos.
Hunter's seen the whole spectrum. He's seen the college experience, then the fame through the NFL, and then also he's unfortunately had experienced some of the dark times.
Right.
But what's is great is now that I'm living in the best version of myself, he's in a good place and he's happy for me. There was a time there where, I think he felt this need that he was kind of having to take care of me as far as he worried about me and just knew that I wasn't, doing well. Yeah. And, kids are smart.
They
pick up on stuff.
Yeah.
And
we don't give them enough credit.
We don't, and I'm just happy to be able to, be there for him.
Yeah.
Like I should be.
So you are doing business development now with Reynolds Construction Management, and you're loving it.
I love it.
You're loving it. You're a people dude. I would call you more of like an introvert people dude.
Yeah.
Would you probably say?
Yeah. I'm much more laid back.
You are laid back.
Yeah. I love it. Paul and Linda and Blake over at Reynolds Construction Management, they've been amazing. And, starting in the industry, as a laborer, I have a unique perspective on, the process, how things get done, and the people that are doing it. I think it's important. Over at RCM, we're big believers of the power in the people. You need to build this team of camaraderie, core values, and intention. And I think that, I actually took Will's job after he moved on to continue his EOS program, and he has really got something started great there. And I'm just kind of piggybacking off what he got started, and it's been great. Like I said, starting in the construction industry, I never knew that this would be something
an opportunity for you.
And then what's nice is like going to being in Atlanta, living around, the country and traveling the world a little bit. Sioux Falls is home. Yeah. And now I get to be a part of like developing this community and this city of Sioux Falls and how great it's becoming. It's a great place to live. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to know like what Sioux Falls is becoming. So.
Yeah. So your day-to-day, what does it look like?
So I get to help a lot with operations, which is great with my experience in the management side of things and the labor side of things. I have some insight. And then I get to do, handle anything internally as far as, be a voice for our employees out in the field, be able to speak with the executive team and the project team on, things we can do better. And we are using EOS, which I don't know if you guys are.
It's incredible.
If Will Powell with EOS, he's been incredible.
I feel like this podcast should now be sponsored by Will Powell.
His nickname is the mayor. No, but it really has been great. I mean, it's really helping us get things in order, and we're really progressing as a company. It's been great.
So do you feel like your experience over the years from obviously small town boy, Atlanta, all the adversity, the depression, anxiety, going back to school, like all of these, I'm not going to call them bumps in there. They're just different chapters and journeys, have kind of prepared you for the role that you're in now?
I think so. I think it gives me a unique perspective. Business development, is something that I always wanted to get into. I just didn't know. I didn't have the confidence, I think, to pursue it.
Sure.
But, having these past experiences that have helped me grow, I really noticed that just helping others, being involved, helping grow something, and I think in life, everyone wants to be able to progress and growth, and like personal growth is important to me, whether that's with my family, or that's, with my health, or that's with my mental health. It's just, I think it's something that if you're not growing, you're just slowly dying.
Yeah.
So it's unique.
So what does your mornings look like? I want to hear like the inside. Like, do you get up and work out in the morning? Do you eat Cheerios?
I'll tell you my
tell me.
best.
Do you wear a face mask before you go to bed? Like, because you have great skin, Tyler.
Well,
great skin,
you.
Great skin, great hair, all the stuff.
Well, that's all of having awareness.
And he's working on his crop top summer.
It is a crop top and flip flop summer. Okay, I'm telling you that right now.
Crop tops back.
But typical morning is, on a morning that I try to work out, is get up about 4:45, get to the gym. I like to do the mornings because if I can do a hard workout and a cold tub in the morning, like get those two
I'm a morning workout person too. It just fuels me for the day, but also I feel like so many things happen in the day, from work to kids to whatever, that I just I need it to fuel me in the mornings.
100%. And if you do hard things early in the day, the rest of your day is easy.
Yeah, agree.
So I'm a big believer in that. One thing I've taken to heart in my life is you have to become comfortable with the uncomfortable in any aspect of your life, because the sooner you can do that, everything just seems a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
So, work out and get to the office about 7:00.
What do you eat for breakfast?
I don't really do breakfast.
You don't?
No, I like to fast
No protein.
in the morning.
You do? Okay. When's your fast? When do you cut or stop your fast? 11-ish?
So I can make it till about 11:00. Then I'm starving.
Yeah, I would guess.
Yeah. I've just been trying to, fast in the morning.
Okay.
And honestly, I think we're so caught up in culture that we think we need to eat all the time, but
or at the hour, right? Do you remember? I don't know. My small town, like the noon bell would ring, or in the whole city or whatever, and you're like, oh, lunchtime, it's noon, but you need to eat when you're hungry. Yeah,
and paying attention to those natural cues when you actually need to eat, but also I think there's a sharpness that comes with being hungry. Like you can be hungry, but you don't necessarily need to eat. And I think that, in the mornings, because every time I do eat, I kind of feel like I slow down. My mind slows down a little bit. My body slows down. I get tired. So it keeps me sharp, and then also eating light.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Are you a steak and potatoes guy?
I love
Are you a vegetarian?
No, I could never. I will eat a lot of meat.
Do you like to grill? Are you a griller or no?
Grill, yep. A lot of wild game.
You're a fisher. You love to fish.
Fish, hunt.
All the
then a big time garden guy. I got a green thumb. So
you do?
Oh,
I would have never guessed.
I can grow some.
Wow.
Vegetables.
What do you grow? What do you grow?
Anything from cabbage, kohlrabi.
Wow.
A lot of potatoes, a lot of tomatoes, a lot of peppers.
Are you a salsa guy?
Love me some salsa. Homemade Bloody Mary mix, although I do not indulge anymore.
Yeah.
But
look at you.
Yeah.
And you have a cat named Penny?
Princess Penelope. Yes, I do.
Who got the cat? You or the kiddos?
So I actually was a friend of mine. Her daughter had got the Penny for college, and then ended up not working out, and then kind of pawned it off on me. And then I was watching her for the weekend, and then I had the kids, and Sienna. It was love at first sight. And now there's no way I can get rid of this cat.
That's
Although this cat is tormented because my daughter just wants to hold her, and cats aren't really want to be held, you know. So she just terrorizes her all day, but the cat loves her. She'll run away from her, but then all of a sudden, as soon as Sienna's sleeping, the kitty will be on the bed sleeping by her. So
I saw a little video you were following her around the other day, and it was fun.
She's adorable. I never thought I'd be a cat person, but I like my little kitty.
Dogs?
I don't have any dogs. No, I just don't. I'm not home enough to.
Yeah, I get it.
I've had dogs before in the past, and it's just if you want to go somewhere, you got to board them or you take them with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just I don't. My cat can stay home and take care of herself.
Yeah, I get it. What's next for you? Do you think? What do you want to tell the world?
I guess some information I guess I can give it, hopefully help you guys out if you're in a rough spot or just looking ahead. Just be more grateful. I think a lot of things we chase so much material that I think if you switch your mindset and don't chase the material, but chase moments, and there's no greater moment than the one that you're in. And I think that being present and aware of what's happening and what you actually have rather than what you want or where you want to be. it always ends up working out. I think a lot of, live easy, love hard, and I dealt with a lot of, I think, a lot of the dark times I was holding on to this hate, I was holding on to this hate, and it was driving my ego, and it just became like an infection, like it just festered and festered. And once I kind of surrendered my ego and I just focused on the now and the things I had and what I was grateful for, and, use love as like a way to kind of heal myself and heal relationships around me, everything in my life improved, everything. So I just live easy and love hard.
Wow. I met you so many years ago, and you just are such a different person now. You have a different aura around you. You're a lot more chill than I remember you years ago.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I know it's been such a good compliment, but I think so much hard work from your side, though, has gone into it to making you where you are now. And I like what you're saying about surrendering. And today's devotion for me anyway was from Isaiah, and it basically talked about like, it's not on our time. Like I think so many times for me, I just want things now. I want it to be done today. And I have like just a time schedule. I'm a planner, of course, that's what I do. Right. So I want things done when it needs to be. But for me, sometimes it's not on my time, right? It's someone else's, it's God's, it's whoever's time. It's not mine. And so many times I want to surrender things, and I don't do a good job of it. So I'm grateful for what you said today, because it hits home in a lot of ways.
That is a hard thing to do, though. I mean, you really have to I'm not in control, and that's okay. Yeah. That I am a part of something much larger that's happening. And I like to,
but you weren't always like that.
No. I mean, this is growth that's happened within this past year. Yeah. I mean, full disclosure. I mean,
do you therapy, or are you doing self?
Therapy. So I mean, I told you I struggle with addiction, and I actually had to go to a facility. That fortunately the NFL helped me fund it, but I had to do some growing this last year and healing, and really it just came from a place of past trauma and pain, and just it's crazy how that can just fester and fester. And if you just let your ego, I can handle it, or I'm in control. But if you just let go and be like, I'm a part of something much bigger, and I don't have control, I'm just grateful to be here.
You feel like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders?
Oh, so much so. Yeah. So much so.
And your hair.
Yeah, my hair, right?
The long hair is gone. We've got shorter hair, lighter shoulders, everything.
Yeah. It's just, honestly, I'm so grateful. Things have been, I've been sober now, coming on a year in July.
Congratulations.
And, I mean, I've lived that life. Yeah. There's just nothing for me there anymore. And I don't have the personality where I can just go out and enjoy a drink or two. Yeah. It's just, you got to know yourself. And so many good things have come from it. So,
do you think you'll ever go on a bigger stage and talk publicly? Do you feel like ever? Like the reason why I say that is you have such an inspiration about you. You've lived the life. You've been on this journey for many years. And, from, again, small town to where you are now in this full circle moment, I think you've got such a great story that could inspire so many, but also you have a patience about it. And I know you love the coaching side of things. Mm-hmm. We talked, about from coaching elites or whatever it looks like for you, and from a future side. But do you feel like you would ever pop on a big stage and share your story to help others? Yeah,
actually, it's funny you say that, because it's actually something I'm working on. That's what Star Power is. It's to create spiritual, physical, and mental awareness in your life. I'm working on putting together a book that I can kind of go and
exciting.
So stay tuned. And then also I'm actually working on a movie called The Star Life, and it's to create spiritual awareness in your life and physical and mental awareness through the outdoors, disconnecting from the chaotic society that we've created and technology, and being able to just get out and just kind of be in our natural state. So, I definitely have so much.
That's exciting. Good for you.
I'm excited.
It might take a while, right? Are you gonna get there?
It's gonna take a little bit. I got about a third, almost half of the filming done. But
wow, good for you. That's exciting.
It's fun.
Can we have you back on when it debuts?
Absolutely.
That would be so good.
I would love to. That would
be so awesome.
Absolutely.
Congrats to you.
Thank you.
Well, before we end, I have this little thing of questions here. So our producer, Ariana, I know. So I have no idea what these questions are, except for I did just peek on one, just a little. You saw. I know. One. But I'm gonna shuffle them up. So in this stack of questions, I have no idea again what they're going to be, but you can answer or you can pass. But I will tell you, no one's ever passed.
How many passes do I get?
You get no passes, Tyler. No passes. Okay. Oh, this is a fun one. If you could be a contestant on any game show, what would it be and why?
Oh, no doubt Price is Right.
Come on down.
Yeah,
Are you good at that stuff? Like you love the prices, or you just think it's fun?
I think it's a nostalgia thing. I remember remember skipping school, pretending to be sick, and then watching the Price is Right. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I used to get tremendous migraines and sometimes fake migraines. So I would go to my grandma's and be like,
"Sorry, Little Rock school."
Yeah, I would leave Little Rock, drive to George where high school is at, and stop in at grandma's. I know grandma would call in and be like, "Grandma, I'm sick." I'll call the school. I'm like, thanks, Grandma Jen.
Price is Right. Nostalgic for sure.
100%.
Especially at the end when Bob used to say, "Have your pets spayed or neutered?" All the stuff. We are not ending today's episode that way. But
I do like Drew Carey though.
He is pretty awesome.
Good, yeah.
Wow. Good. Fun.
Right.
Well, thanks for joining us today. This was awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, for those of you that are tuning in, be sure to check back every other Thursday as we launch a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks again, Tyler.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll chat soon. Thanks for listening to this episode of Uncorked and Unscripted. Make sure to follow and rate this podcast wherever you are watching or listening. Stay connected with us by following us on social media at Uncorked Unscripted on Instagram and Facebook, and at Uncork Unscript on Twitter and TikTok. And if you really enjoyed this episode, do us a huge favor and send it to a friend. See you soon. Bye.